back just to your tenure, 2005, 6, early 7. Where was the Fed as a regulator to try to prevent the crisis? Do you believe that the Federal Reserve knew what was going on with, say, the holding companies? And if so, why the debacle? If they really knew, they either knew or they didn't know. A lot of people believe, Senator Dodd alluded to this, that the Fed has done a horrible job as a regulator. And now yet you're wanting to continue as a regulator, which is only part of your real job.
Well, Senator, it's been an extraordinary crisis which has tested every single regulator, both here and abroad. Did we do everything we could? Absolutely not. I talked in my testimony about things we're doing to improve. I think the question that lies before you, if you fight a battle and you lose the battle, does that mean you never use an army again? You have to improve and fix the situation. You don't have to necessarily eliminate the institution. So I think that we did certainly not a perfect job by any means, but I don't think we stand out as having done a worse job than other regulators. And again, many of the critical firms and markets that were the worst problems were outside of our purview.
Do you believe that a bank should have a role or a say in any way of who their regulator might be, such as the reserve banks?
No, I don't. And in the
do you believe that 13 Act should be changed?
Well, of course, Congress created that structure, but the way it actually functions is that there is no connection. The reserve bank, the banks who are members of the boards of the 12 reserve banks select, vote for.
Explain to the audience and the committee again how the members of the reserve bank, say the Federal Reserve of Atlanta, Richmond, New York, San Francisco.
I'd be glad to do that, sir.
Tell them how they're selected to serve on the board.
Okay, so
who does the nomination?
Yes, sir. So again, as provided by the Federal Reserve Act, each of the 12 reserve banks has a board of directors with a chairman. The directors, 12 at each bank, are in 3 classes. One class is drawn from banks in the district. Most of them are community banks. The second class, so-called B class, are people who are technically elected by the banks. And the C class is supposed to represent the general public. Elected by the banks who they supervise, right? But let me describe how the process actually works. The way the process actually works is that, first, that the directors are chosen for the most part by the leadership of the Reserve Bank, that is nominated by the leadership of the Reserve Bank in order to be a wide representative cross-section of economic and community leaders in the district. So, for example, among the 70 or so B and C directors, there are 3 from financial services. There are many more from manufacturing, wholesale, retail, trade, agriculture, all different kinds of areas. They are not bankers. Then, moreover, both the directors and the Reserve Bank president must be approved by the Board of Governors in Washington. But Mr. Chairman, we understand that. But do you believe that anybody that's going to be supervised by a banking regulator should have a say-so in choosing that regulator? It seems to me and others it's an inherent conflict of interest and an incestuous financial relationship that's not good for the Federal Reserve. It's not good for banks. It shows conflicts of interest to me. Well, I can see why you would, in terms of the way the law is written, you might think that, but the way it has actually been structured, the way it actually operates, is that the boards of directors are drawn in practice from a wide cross-section of the public, and they are, I should add in addition, that they're very strong firewalls. They have no ability to influence or even be informed about supervisory policy. I know my time's up, but lastly, do you believe that the Federal Reserve Bank, say the Federal Reserve of New York and Richmond and San Francisco and so forth,
that they basically are the regulator and that you, as the chairman of the Board of Governors, have outsourced that to the reserve banks?
Absolutely not.
Why haven't you?
The Board of Governors has the legal authority and responsibility to manage that supervision. They function as operational arms of the Board of Governors, but we set the policy, we do the quality control, we do the reviews, we set the budgets. So your earlier criticism, to the extent you're correct, the buck stops here. We are responsible for that, and we are, if anything, continuing to strengthen, centralize, and continue to work to make sure that that supervision is as strong as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator. Senator Johnson.
Welcome to the committee, Chairman Bernanke, and I want to join the Senator Chairman Dodd in voicing